not given its due respect and legitimacy. If you read, you will understand. Oldest Kanjiga. They used. How did they? So precisely records. One rishi will sit in samadhi, and that's the way they have done it. He will become so whole cosmos. Zoom in, zoom out, and pen down. It's into completion more and more. You will catch by whom? Keneshitam. The Kena Upanishad, the essence of Kena, your inner space, completely complete. If you are ready with the complete, in this Upanishad, Devi is the Guru. In this Upanishad, Devi is addressed. The word Uma is used for Devi in this Upanishad. You can reflect, capture, visualize exact, most subtle visualization with a little completion inside. Please understand. Understand this example. a 7 or 8 year old child is made to see pornography again and again, the physical maturity age is quickened more than 70%. Means the physical maturity, if it is supposed to happen at the age of 14, it is drastically brought down. By the age of 8, the body will be physically matured. If the body is made to visualize again and again the sexual action through pornography or some reminding, because whatever your brain visualizes, body becomes ready to it, make that into reality and experience. The brain makes that into your experience. That is why I say, if you want next generation to be sexually healthy, ban pornography. We always have a wrong idea. It is through porn next generation is going to enjoy the sex. No. It is going to be a big disease. If you want the next generation to have a healthy sexual life, ban pornography. Because that is going to reduce the age of physical maturity, which is going to drastically destroy the health of the next generation. Understand the truth I am trying to convey. Anything your brain can capture and enjoy, your life will make that into reality. If your brain can capture and enjoy the most subtlest understandings of cosmic sacred secrets and the spiritual powers, you will become just yogi, divya shariri. If you enjoy pornography, your body will be physically matured. If you enjoy the subtle powers, subtle understandings, simply your body will become divya shariri. You will become yogi, bala yogi, bala sant. Bala sant is a person whose brain captures all these highest conscious truths, subtle truths while you are young. The way your brain captures these great truths, simply your body starts manifesting it. You become yogi. You become a divya shariri. You become embodiment of Mahadeva. You become Balasant. Understand? Ability to reflect the subtlest truths. Ability to reflect the sacred understandings. Ability to catch the most sacred bliss. Ability to capture the powerfulness of the consciousness. Ability to look into the source of the cosmos happens with tremendous completion and peace in the inner space. So before entering into this Upanishad, I request all of you today, spend time doing completion. All major sufferings, whether it is physical or mental, you go through in the life will be connected to that root pattern. It is the root pattern responsible for serious physical or mental sufferings you go through. It starts only from there. And blessed are those who complete with their root pattern when they are young or before it manifests as any serious disorder. How many below 30? Raise your hand. You guys are the real blessed. Real blessed. Because it will never manifest as any disease in you. It's killed. Means the poison is destroyed before it can damage any part of you. Of course, others also, poison is destroyed, but now I have to heal the parts which has already been damaged. The toxic mental setup which is already created, the subtle brain grooves get developed based on your thinking pattern. That needs to be completed. Means that work has to be done by tomorrow, next, the few sessions. Before 30, the strong grooves don't get developed. That is almost like a rangoli only. You can wipe it by ordinarily. But after 30, it's almost like they say in Guru Gita says, whatever Brahma writes with the hand, Guru wipes by leg. Brahma writes by hand, Guru wipes by leg. So this is the wiping I am supposed to do. The subtle grooves you develop in your brain with your toxic mental setup. I tell you, if at all you guys have one more janma, take birth in Indian village where this Ramayana, Mahabharata, all these great things are constantly screamed and heard. That's the beauty of Tiruvannamalai, the village I was born and brought up. Every day some old man will have one free mic, some Purana in the temple. Kanda Purana, Shiva Purana, Ramayana, Mahabharata. Forcibly they will put some cosmic principle in your head. You cannot be in depression. How long you will resist? How long you will resist? 2 days, 3 days, after that? Someday it will get into your ears. These cosmic principles, when you cherish them, completely unconnected problems get solved. You will never understand how can my half an hour thinking about the cosmos and the size of the cosmos and the automatic intelligence of the cosmos heal my gastric trouble. It heals. When you think of the lever of the cosmos, your liver gets healed. I tell you, listen, any cosmic principle, you don't even need to seriously practice it. Just like a sipping cup of coffee, if you sip, and very casually flirt with them, romance with them, those cosmic principles, you will see your third eye just goes up, zoom, and refueled. The whole third eye, thankful. Then you can run your life for quite a long time. Cherishing cosmic thought currents, cosmic principles, cosmic understandings. What Mahadeva talks about cosmology, how he introduces the principles of cosmos, how he introduces dharma, how he introduces the cognition, the individual cognition and the cosmic cognition, how he introduces the microscopic and telescopic understandings. Understand? The microscopic and telescopic understandings about the Brahmanda and Pindanda, macrocosm and microcosm. Even a simple cherishing fuels your third eye and you start manifesting powers. You may just sit and think about how many cosmos, Brahmanda, Bhuvana exists. By the time you open your eyes, your wealth problems would have been solved. I have seen this happening, understand. Logically, you may not be able to connect at all. How come? I was thinking about that and this is solved. Because cosmic principles always iron out your blind spots of why you exist and how you exist. Why you want to exist and how you exist. That blind spots get cleared. That is what I call third eye opening. That is what I call third eye opening. You want to exist for excellence, but you exist for some selfish attachment only to realize the hopelessness and emptiness of your so-called ignorant desires. Listen, I am not at all against the desires getting fulfilled, reality. I am only against you running behind something which can never be fulfilled. Or if it is fulfilled, it will be more dangerous to you. In the name of desire, you are running behind siren. Understand, activating the whole brain and making all the non-mechanical parts of the brain active and alive is the field almost every religion, every philosophy, every branch of the science is enamored, working researching, understand? Making the whole brain active, awakening the non-mechanical parts of the brain. I can say in a way almost the goal of all religions and philosophies. In the modern day, every scientific field, every field, all that names, neuroscience, the field of psychology, psychiatry, you can name. All of them are enamored, doing research, spending billions in this field. Best way to work on your brain, awaken all the non-mechanical parts of the brain. Awaken your whole brain. The best way is to make more and more super consciousness manifest in you. More and more higher states of consciousness sinking in you. How? Starch in the rice and milk is absorbed by the brain, and brain started growing bigger and bigger when human beings have started vegetarian lifestyle, rice and milk as their regular food. Listen carefully. How brain absorbs the starch food from rice, starch from rice and milk. It absorbs superconsciousness during the time of the puja. It awakens itself and all the non-mechanical parts of the brain starts working, becomes super brain. Brain becomes super brain when you feel, when you establish yourself with the oneness. Listen carefully. When you fall in tune with the oneness, I'll give you a very beautiful, precise method of oneness. Understand? The deep I you feel is actually Paramashiva. So decide, Paramashiva breathes in you and your individual breathing is too shallow. Your existence is Paramashiva. Your individual breathing is too shallow. So sit with that heavy presence of Paramashiva as you. You will see all the non-mechanical parts of your brain is awakened. All the brain cells are fully alive. All 25 faces, identities of Paramashiva is awakened in your brain. All the 11 dimensions are available to you. All the 5 aspects of Paramashiva manifest through you. His 25 head and 50 hands is the real body you are carrying. Just like you are not aware of the tip of your hair, You may not be aware of those 25 heads and 50 hands, but that does not mean it does not exist. You may not be aware of the tip of your hair, that does not mean you don't have the hair. Same way, you may not be aware of the 25 heads and 50 hands, that does not mean you don't have. Remember to sit as Paramashiva and breathe life into your body. You as Paramashiva possessing your body to manifest and celebrate your existence. You became your body. You as Paramashiva became your body. When you sit as Paramashiva with his 25 heads and 50 hands, be Paramashiva and own your body. Radiate in your body as Paramashiva. Let you be clear, you are Paramashiva. Hold your body, own your body, radiate through your body as Paramashiva. You will see your whole brain will become active. Your whole brain will be awakened. Intense, full brain activity as Paramashiva. So much energy will be infused into your system. When your whole brain is activated by the oneness, you manifest superpowers and your brain naturally becomes super brain. Cognize clearly. Know you are Paramashiva, ultimate. Own your body and mind and brain and your system as Paramashiva. Decide to radiate through your body, brain, mind, intra-organs, internal organs and consciousness as Paramashiva. In your lifestyle, activities, relationship, everything, radiate as Paramashiva. But I tell you, never before, never after, this multi-hero, heroine story was built. Understand? A human mind can conceive a story means one hero, one heroine, one villain, one comedian.
or maximum two hero, two heroine, but never this large scale of multi-hero, heroine, villain stories have been built. Look at Mahabharata. Who is hero? Yudhishthira? No. Arjuna? No. Panchabandavas all the five? No. Then what about Krishna? All right. Panchabandavas and Krishna? No. What about Bhishma? All right. Panchabandavas, Krishna and Bhishma. What about Karna? What way is less heroic? All right. Panchabandavas, Krishna and Karna, Bhishma. Then what about Drishtadyumna? He is not heroic. What about Drona? Drona's history can be a separate book. Yudhishthira's can be a separate book. Karna's can be a separate book. The multiple hero, multi-hero, heroine, villain, story which was never before or never after recorded so beautifully. I may not want to say it is story written. I may only want to say it is story recorded. Because no human mind can conceive such a multiple layered stories. See, the modern day very clearly proves to conceive a multiple layered story, you need a subtle grooves of your brain awakened. When I read the story of Mahabharata, I am 100% sure Vyasa's all subtle grooves of the brain have been awakened. All non-mechanical parts of the brain is awakened. I think Vyasa's whole body was brain. Because each character, Shikandini, he builds the Shikandi's character for 3 births. And Shikandi is only one of the thousands of characters. Who will you call as a hero? Who will you call as a villain? Can you say Shakuni is the villain? No. Then what about Duryodhana? Can you say Duryodhana is villain? Then what about Dushasana, who has done more damage? If Dushasana and Duryodhana and Saguni are villain, then what about Dhritarashtra? If Duryodhana, Dushasana, Dhritarashtra, if all of them are villain, what about Aswathama? Who is a heroine? Can you say Kundi is a heroine? Then what about Ganga? If you say Kundi and Ganga are heroine, then what about Gandhari? If Kundi and Ganga and Gandhari are heroine, then what about Draupadi? The multi-hero, multi-heroine, multi-villain story, which was neither conceived before nor conceived after, and nobody is made as hero. Everything is recorded. Please understand. Nobody is shown as perfect. The fraudulence Krishna did, cheap fraudulences are recorded. Krishna comes to know that on Amavasya day If the war starts, Duryodhana is going to win, and this fellow goes to the Ganga and starts giving darpana, the sun and the moon, Surya and Chandra, they get surprised and they look, what is this? Why is Krishna giving darpana today? Today is not Amavasya. They both run to him and ask, oh Mahadeva, Bhagavan, why are you giving darpana today? Today is not Amavasya. Then Krishna looks at them and asks, what is the meaning of the Amavasya? They say, when sun and the moon meet, both of us meet. Krishna said, I already made you guys meet. Darpana is done, go. Amavasya. What a silly game for a Bhagavan to play. What a silly game for a Bhagavan to play. But I tell you, he is the greatest being. Krishna, you can never compare. Never before nor after.
Swamiji, when you gave me the Agni Samyama initiation in Kumbh Mela, you said we'll be able to see inside. I was able to see inside. But now, in this last process, I was seeing things like the core of some planets and everything, and it's completely opposite to what we have all been led to believe in the modern thing. For example, for like Jupiter and all, I don't know why you saw.
Actually, what I am saying, Guru, if you can see your brain, you can see the reflection of Guru.
Yes.
If you can see your throat, you can see the reflection of Rahu.
That's exactly how
If you can see your liver, you can see the reflection of Sun.
Sunny. It's really.
So each of the grahas are reflected on your organs and they instigate, guide. That is the way they influence and impact your life.
My question is related to the length aspect as it pertains to artists. So traditional Indian artists can visualize an image and create it exactly in the form of a sculpture or painting. And even if they make 10,000 paintings, it will be exactly the same. Not like every time they make, it will be different each time and use a word like creative expression or something. They can reproduce it exactly the same. So are they able to do it because they remove the length aspect, and when they put
I
it
should
into
say, from the young age they grow up, so the length aspect is not given much energy. Creativity and doing this repeatedly same thing is a unique to Hindu arts. Creativity and repetitively producing that. All our temple deities are handmade. You will see so much of similarity even though it is handmade. Not machine made. Handmade. But so much similarity you will see. Almost 90% will be same.
There's a question on third eye. If the third eye can see that, which it can, and if it can see this also, then it can perceive both this and that the same way, Swamiji.
Yes.
And is that the space of oneness, Swamiji?
I should say visual oneness. Actually, in the seeing you experience oneness, actual oneness is whatever you see, you will feel one with it. That is actual oneness.
How would...
Now you are, see, if you can see this, see that, it is called 3D oneness. Actual oneness is 11D oneness, where you will feel everything is you. Not just seeing, feeling everything is you.
Ability to balance your being. Usually, we have some thoughts, it comes out of your brain and passes through your brain grooves and becomes a vibration in your body, and action happens. Only after the action happens, you even know why you had that kind of thought, why you did that kind of action, and you start either repenting or feeling guilty. Virya means having the awareness and strength to catch the thought by the time it comes out, before even it passes through your brain grooves, before even it affects your decision making energy. The moment it starts, catch it there itself. The Virya, ability to catch in the root itself. Ramana Maharshi calls this as Aham Spurana, sitting in the space where the Aham, the identity is rising. That's what I call Virya.
Swamiji so beautifully explained, revealed to all of us the importance of awakening the non-mechanical parts of the brain. Our brain, as we understand, is not just limited to what you think as the normal capabilities of it. It is not just for you running your body or understanding things. It's not just that. If you train, your brain can reflect cosmos in itself. The Brahmanda, the macrocosm, can be reflected in your Pindanda, the microcosm, the state in which you exist. Today, through the Mahasadashiva Murti, Bhava Samadhi Darshan, Swamiji is going to be conducting some of the most unique, some of the most powerful and very special initiations for all of us. Swamiji is going to be taking all of us through this process and awakening our brain grooves through this powerful process. So Swamiji is going to be initiating all of us to rewire our brain, awakening the non-mechanical parts of the brain and the subtle brain grooves that Swamiji was explaining. And the second initiation we are going to be receiving is super brain, awakening the brain's ability to have telescopic and microscopic vision. The next is Aham Spurana process. Swamiji is going to be initiating all of us to be able to awaken the brain grooves by visualizing the 25 heads of Mahasadashiva. It's a very powerful process that Swamiji took all of us through describing the 5 phases of Mahasadashiva, right? In this process, Swamiji is going to be taking us through that visualization and awakening the brain grooves through this particular visualization process. And this is going to be a very, very powerful initiation. From morning till now, we've learned about conscious elasticity. We all understood about Shiva Vidya from the Mrigendra Agama. Then we understood about how you can rewire your brain. We also understood about how you can train your brain to reflect the cosmos and how we can awaken super brain through superpowers. So all of these are the topics that we covered from morning till now. Now, the time has come for all of us to get ready to receive this very, very powerful, profound initiation from Swamiji. How many of you are ready for, excited and ready for today's initiation? Put in the chat. Ma Leah Khori, you're asking how do you access these satsangs of Swamiji's, this Q&As? I know it is absolute delight and it's really such a joy to sit and listen to Swamiji's satsangs. All of these are available on SPH YouTube channel, KAILASA's SPH Nithyananda, our official YouTube channel. So you can subscribe there and you will have multiple playlists, especially Inner Awakening is a separate playlist there. And you'll also see question and answers as individual playlists available on the YouTube channel. And we will also send you this link today, as a part of your homework, you would also be receiving these links. So you can enjoy these satsangs. Okay. So now I see so many yes, yes. Oh my God, all the chat is flooded with yes. I know you're all very excited. Now it is time for us to get ready. Can I request all of you to settle down in front of the cameras? Please have your Atma Murtis behind you. Ma Kemi, it is very nice to see the beautiful little temple and the setup of your Atma Murti. It's very nice. And very nice to see you sitting in a traditional sari. Actually, we recommend every one of you, when you sit for initiation, sit in a traditional attire. That enhances your experience of the initiation even more. So you all can have your Atma Murti. Keep some offering of food. Yes, Ma Veralushi Agostino, I can see your Atma Murti as well. Yes, all of you set up, have a proper setup, keep your Atma Murtis and make sure you're visible in the camera and make sure that there's enough lighting. Check that you do not have virtual backgrounds and please get ready for the darshan. Today we are going to be receiving the darshan of Mahasadashiva Murti and we will now be chanting the Dhyana Shloka of Mahasadashiva Murti. श्री महाकैलासमूर्तिध्यानम् शृणुत ब्राह्मणा सर्वे गुह्याद् गुह्यतरं परम् अस्ति मेलोरुधद्भागे महान् कैलासपर्वतः साम्बस्य सगुणस्यायं सभक्तस्येन्दुमौलिनः संवासो योजनानां च 20,000,000,000 औन्नत्यमेतद्विगुणमस्य ज्ञेयं द्विजोत्तमाः नवरत्नमयं तस्य मध्ये शिखरमुत्तमम् तत्रालयो महेशस्य नानारत्नविचित्रतः प्रकार गोपुरोट्टालवलभिर्विराजितः तथा सिंहासने तत्र महाशम्भुः सदाशिवः प्रफुल्लकमुलोल्लास पञ्चविंशन्मुखोज्ज्वलः धृतनानायुधद्भेदास् 50 फुल्लरक्ताम्बुजात्तात श्रीबाह्वं प्रियगुलोज्ज्वलः विचित्ररत्नकीचितभूषणैरपि भूषितः अनेककोटिसूर्याभः परमानन्दविग्रहः अप्राकृततनुः श्रीमान् लक्ष्यलक्षणवर्जितः यतो वाचो निवर्तन्ते अप्राप्य मनसा सह गङ्गाश्रयजटाजूटश्चन्द्रशेखाविभूषितः भस्मोद्धूलि सर्वाङ्गो व्यालयज्ञोपवीतवान् कपालमालाधारी च व्याघ्रचर्माम्बरावृतः प्रतिवक्त्रं त्रिनयनो भक्तसर्वार्थसद्सिद्धिः प्रसाद्य दक्षिणं पादं कुञ्चयित्वेत्तरं पदम् अभयं चक्रशूले च टङ्कबाणौ गदाम्बुजे खड्गतोमरशक्तिश्च परशुप्रासपन्नगान् हल्लाङ्कुशाक्षमालाश्च छूरिकाध्वजदण्डकौ वज्रकुन्तांसिताधंश्च क्रकंश्च भिण्डिवालकम् 25 नो दक्षिणै शुभैः वरचापौ मृगं शङ्खं खेटपाशापरश्वधान् मुद्गरं डमरुं घण्टां रुद्रवीणां च पुस्तकम् कपालमुण्डखट्वाङ्गं भुशुण्डी परिघानपि फलकं फट्टसंवेत्रं कमण्डलुहुताशनौ कर्तरी मुसलं पिञ्छं बिभ्रं द्वामै तथा करैः महान् सदाशिवस्योऽयं राजते तत्र पर्वते. This beautiful chant describes to us in great detail about Mahasadashiva, the cosmic form in which Paramashiva resides, performing the Panchakritya, the 5 faces of Paramashiva and the 5 phases of Paramashiva. Now, let us all prepare ourselves. Let us all get ready to receive these extraordinary initiations. And when we prepare for initiation, right? Whenever we are receiving these extraordinary initiations, it's not just like a metaphysical process that happens. It's extremely physical. Like you can actually feel the energy, you can experience the changes physically in your system, and they are tangible.
And
the power
these would directly impact in your day-to-day life. Like you would be able to observe the changes happening in your physical body, as well as that reflecting in the very quality of your life being enhanced.
And these are not limited to it's not limited to just the way we see or experience reality alone, but how you can tap into your own higher potential or higher possibilities of yourself. Now, to tell you all about today's initiation, we are going to share with you all one very beautiful happening from Swamiji's life to prepare us for the initiation, to receive the initiation. So we all know our brain, we've all trained our brain very well. Like from the time you wake up in the morning, taking automatically without much of your conscious intervention, let's say, your brain automatically heads to the bathroom, it starts with a shower. You don't even need to train your brain. Your brain is programmed in such a way. From your young age, you wake up, you go for shower, you brush your teeth, then you have your food, then you get ready. It's so automatic. Like it barely requires your function. Many times, even you, let's say, even you driving to the office, it's not a function. It's not a process that requires much of your conscious intervention. It just happens almost as an automatic process. All your emotions, the words, when people utter a certain word, you don't consciously say, oh, wait, let me figure out what emotion should I react to. It's an automatic process again. The moment someone tells a word, it triggers you. It causes joy, it causes pain, it causes anger, it causes desperation, it causes different emotions in our inner space. And that again is almost automatic, which does not require much of your conscious intervention. When we experience these awakenings, when we experience our brain normally with the day-to-day activities that we do, we experience our brain mostly from the mechanical parts, which are regularly active, which does not require much of your creativity, which does not require much of your energy. Actually, you all should know, we all human beings, it's scientific studies which is established clearly, we human beings use our brain to the minimum. We do not use the complete capabilities of our brain. And science classifies our brain into 2 parts. One is the mechanical parts of our brain, and another one is the non-mechanical parts of our brain, the parts of your brain that we do not access or utilize much. Now, today's initiation is going to be awakening your non-mechanical parts of the brain. Now we are going to be understanding a bit about how our brain works.
See, the way how our brain functions, whether the kind of activities that you are doing or like the patterns that you are developing, everything, all these are developed based on some cutting, based on the grooves that are there in your brain. Now, for this, we need to understand how, when we say that you're perceiving something, your brain is giving you a command, how exactly is this process happening in us? We need to understand that. Actually, there's a beautiful study called as the neuroplasticity. It's a field of science where your brain is studied, how your brain functions is studied. And the neurologists have identified that there's a very clear structure that exists within our brain, which corresponds to the kind of thought and the behavioral sense that we are having. And these are decided based upon the neurons that are there in our brain. Neurons are the small nerve cells that are there in our brain, and they fire. Like, for example, right now you're blinking, you're listening, you're cognizing. All of these are happening with these tiny little nerve cells called as neurons that are there in our brain and are sending the information through electrical impulses. And these informations are sent through trillions and trillions of neurons within our brain. Now, if you see, like, for example, this particular thing that you're seeing is called as it's like a zoomed in version of a single connection between one neuron to the other. And this connection is called as a synapse. We're going to just understand few basics so that we understand what we are going to be receiving in today's session. So every time an information, let's say you have to blink, so your brain sends a command to your eyes to say blink. Just for that one command should be transmitted. Your brain sends a signal to certain nerve cells, and each nerve cell passes the information to another in this form. So this is called as a synapse. This synapses, when multiple such synapses happen, every time your neurons fire, they create something called as a brain groove, like a channel pathway. Which is why every time you start brushing your teeth, you are not aware of it. Like first when you were a child, you started doing the process. At that time, the first few times, you might have been conscious of what you're doing. But as and when it became a regular practice, the neural pathway or the brain grooves have become so strong that even unconsciously, like you just wake up half asleep and you go to the bathroom and you are able to brush, your hands automatically move. Same thing when you just get into the car, you're able to drive to the office. Only after you go and land, you realize that, oh God, I've already arrived. How is this possible? Because our brain, in those regions, those areas, it has now become so strong. Like the channels become so strong, the grooves become so strong that automatically the information gets sent without even your consciousness. Now, knowing this, we need to first understand this wiring of the brain affects the way we exist. Like, for example, we are discussing about, okay, I have patterns, I have this information, that information, how do I get rid of this? Now, all of these are sitting as those brain grooves inside of, meaning there are like this trillions of nerve connections within your brain. And certain nerve connections, the neural connections, the neural pathways, which have been connected to send that message to your cells or to your motor neurons for certain functionalities to execute, like some patterns that you have, like some obsessive compulsive patterns that you have. All of these are recorded in this map. And today, Swamiji is going to be removing these connections, the wrong connections that you are having, and Swamiji is going to be rewiring our brain. So if I have to put it in other words, most of the patterns that we build
Almost all of them require a lot of effort from our side to break, is it not? Let's take, for example, your addictions or your habits that you really want to get rid of. There are two ways. One, you can change it. Yes, that's a good news. You can change it. But for you to put your conscious effort every single day, you have to undo the actions that you did. And you have to create a new neuron to discard the old synapse so that your brain can receive a new command and it can start building practice. But unfortunately, for people who have built it over the years, like 30, 40 years, it is going to take quite a bit of time for you to train yourself out of it. But there's another way, a very quick, fast, and the most powerful way you can do it, where an avatar intervenes and he initiates, awakens your brain's ability to reflect the cosmos. He simply just awakens the whole brain through the initiation, which automatically discards all the patterns and incompletions. Whenever Swamiji blesses us saying, I am liberating you from all the patterns now, he is talking about those hundreds of, millions of neurons, the neural connections in our brain, which is sitting inside us as patterns and which makes us do the same mistakes over and over and over again and again unconsciously.
Now let's understand this in comparison with river land. Now a river land, when in a land, as the water keeps coming, what will happen? The land gets more and more deeper. The river land gets deeper and deeper. And the river, more and more water keeps getting added, the river becomes more strong. Now, let us say the river connection is just stopped. What happens next? Let's say you put a dam and you change the water course. You don't need to do something separate for this river to stop. Once you cut off the source, slowly this will just dry up and no more this channel will exist. Same thing. Now, visualize this as your brain. The neural pathways, whichever you feel as wrong neural connections, Swamiji will just remove, just put a dam and divert your energy away from patterns like self-sabotaging patterns, victimhood patterns, all of these. And you would be completely free of it without even you putting the separation first. And that is why darshan alters the very neuroplasticity of your state.
So, as neurophysiologists say, each time you react in certain way, you strengthen the power of the pathway. So, each time when the river runs in that same rivulet, the rivulet becomes more deeper. So, the river running in that same direction becomes more stronger, more permanent. Same way, in your brain also you have so many rivers, Ganga, Kaveri, Yamuna, Saraswati, Godavari, Narmada, Sindhu, so many rivers. Some are wild rivers, forest rivers. The rivers which really creates calamity by the forest flood or sudden floods, you need to make a dam and divert it in different direction. Making dam and diverting it different direction is what I call sadhana. Sadhana means making dam and diverting it to different direction. But unfortunately, we have another one biggest rivulet, engraved memory, engram, samskara, laziness, eternal laziness. One of the biggest engram. Biggest enemy for awakening non-mechanical parts of your brain or sadhana or for enlightenment or for achievement is laziness.
See, once the laziness enters into your system, nothing can be done. Any big idea, tomorrow. Good idea, great. But you see, tomorrow is a good day to start. Always our elders say you should find out a right day, right time. See, today if I start, tomorrow I am not going to be there, I am busy. Dvandva vigna, dvitiya vigna should not be there. In our tradition, there is a tradition, the second day nothing should be broken. Dvandva vigna. Oh. Second day it should not be broken. Dvitiya vigna. So I'll start maybe day after tomorrow. Laziness is maya, nothing else. So understand, no sympathy towards laziness is a demon. So, no question of allowing laziness. The first lesson in Zen they teach is the awakening your whole system, breaking the laziness pattern. Because the whole Zen is based on silent sitting. You can very easily slip into laziness in the name of silent sitting. So the very word Zen means dhyan. Zazen means sitting. You can very easily slip into laziness in the name of silent sitting. So you can very easily slip into that laziness in the name of samadhi. No. Zen first breaks that lazy mental setup. You need to break the lazy mental setup to work on these engrams and create the new awakened lifestyle. Zen monasteries, they have a tradition. Even the master, who is the head of the monastery, will not have food if he does not work for that particular hours. They have the system of 8 hours of working. Even I created that system from the Zen only. The 8 hours physically you need to work. 8 hours mentally you need to work. Means sadhana or some other teaching, learning. See, a teacher works 8 hours mentally when he teaches. Disciples work 8 hours mentally when they learn. So 8 hours of physical work, 8 hours of mental work. Naturally the 8 hours you will rest in consciousness. There will not be any unexhausted engrams. So the sleep will be deep sleep. Only when you don't work 8 hours physically, 8 hours mentally, you will have a stressed sleep, disturbed sleep, disturbed memory, disturbed mental setup. You will not feel really as you slept. So I tell you, laziness is one of the worst engram. It is not even engram, it's almost like a breathing. That's why just yesterday I decided, anybody who leaves the ashram due to laziness engram, I have decided I will not accept them anymore back. No question of coming back. If they leave because of any other engram, maybe lust, they can go and get married and suffer in few years and come back, no problem. They will understand the lesson, it's too costly. They can come back. If they have the anger, then they can leave. And because in the society, when you express your anger, you will be getting nicely beaten. That mental setup will be broken. They can come back. Or if you have greed, then you can go and learn the lessons of the greed engram. What you need to do and you need not do.
If you want to come back, come back. But if there is a lazy engram, laziness engram, and if they leave, nothing can be done.
What happens in our brain? All these engrams, these patterns like laziness that we have created as literally like a physical groove in our brain. Swamiji completely is rewiring them, and Swamiji is awakening us to that highest capability of ourselves, what we, you, all of us can experience. And we all can see that during the initiation, when we receive these initiations from Swamiji, we are all literally being given the energy, like let's say supply, to completely discard all the old patterns that we create for ourselves, that we are struggling with, that we are suffering with, some to break free from. So just through this initiation, Swamiji is going to be completely awakening our whole brain. This initiation is going to be directly working on our brain grooves, awakening our whole brain, activating our whole thing. So that is a speciality of today's initiation. Now, we all know everything Swamiji tells is extremely scientific, because creating a physical change in your brain, ability to alter the brain waves, the brain patterns is possible. And this has been established once again, even scientifically as well. Just by the divine intervention, it is possible for you to change the frequency in which you exist. And each of us can experience these tremendous phenomenal changes in us just through initiation.
So today, when Swamiji is going to be giving us this initiation, Swamiji is going to first, like we learned about awakening the super brain, the superpower, right, in the previous set. And then Swamiji also explained to us about what is rewiring
Your
of
brain.
And Swamiji had explained to us about how the brain actually functions. Now today in this initiation, the very neuroplasticity, meaning how our brain grooves are structured, that is going to be changed. So let's all get ready for the initiation. I request all of you to take a few minutes and quickly get your Panchapachara Puja items and settle down. Now we are going to be entering into the darshan.
Now during the initiation, Swamiji is literally awakening our brain. There's a very interesting process of how this happens. When you are looking at Swamiji, your brain, the neurons that gets fired in your brain are firing in the exact same pattern, in the exact same neural activity as it happens in Swamiji's brain. Science calls this process as mirroring of neurons. And it is exactly through this process, what we call in Hinduism as Shakti Pada, you reflect, your brain reflects the exact process. The avatar can transmit the frequency that he exists in into us. Literally, Swamiji can raise our frequency that we exist in. And this was established scientifically in a groundbreaking research that was conducted on Swamiji himself. Dr. William Collins, a leading researcher and practicing neurosurgeon at St. Louis, had requested Swamiji to study Swamiji's brain, and he wanted to study a patient's brain as well as Swamiji's brain while Swamiji is giving healing. And Swamiji really agreed to this. Actually, Swamiji has done many amazing scientific researches and studies to show how Sanatana Hindu Dharma is real and has established all these powers and the initiations scientifically. We are going to be sending that book as a gift for all of you. Now, so this was one such experiment. This happened in the year 2005, April 2005. And Swamiji readily agreed to this. Dr. Collins was amazed at what the results had been recorded. So on the 14th of April, Swamiji had met with Dr. Collins, and it was at his office in the Washington University. And Dr. Collins wanted to measure and analyze Swamiji's and the patient's brain pattern during the healing that one of the particular participant was receiving. So here, in this case, the subject who was receiving the healing was the doctor's very own son, David. And this son had met with an accident about 10 years ago, and he had lost his motor neuron sensor. Therefore, he was not able to talk, he was not able to walk, he was not able to move, communicate, or perform normally. And his communication was just through his eyes. So that was the situation with David. And this was the doctor's son. And Swamiji was going to heal the son, David, and the study was going to be recording what was happening in Swamiji's brain and what was happening in David's brain. And this was happening in 4 different stages. So the 4 main states in which the brain readings of Swamiji's and David's were recorded and compared. So the 4 states were: first one, where they were just sitting normally. Second was when Swamiji was in the meditative space, in the space of Samadhi. Third was when Swamiji was healing, directing the energy towards David, the subject here. And the fourth was Swamiji radiating, just purely radiating the space of healing without specifically directing it towards David. And the key observations were something groundbreaking, what scientists had not even expected. And these results created new pages in the history of science. So first, it started with studying Swamiji's brain when Swamiji was entering into Samadhi. And this was something really amazing. Because Swamiji's brain was unusually quiet, especially the right side of the brain. It was completely quiet. And to explain this more clearly, normally for all of us, even when you are asleep, your brain is continuously active. But Swamiji's brain was completely silent. And the brain metabolism was 1/20th of normal people. This was way lesser than what Dr. Collins has ever seen even in his entire profession. Even much lower than that of calm people. So this implies that there was an enormous conservation of energy that was happening, like oxygen and other vital chemicals that would be used by the brain was getting conserved. They were not being used because Swamiji's brain was completely silent, which means zero thought. Actually, the brain activity and the metabolism were so low, at such low levels, that Dr. Collins had changed the electrodes to more sensitive ones and even adjusted them a number of times to make sure that he was getting the readings. And despite the adjustments, the readings still showed that it was at unusually low levels, which means Swamiji's brain, even when Swamiji was just entering into the space of Samadhi, which is the normal state that Swamiji is in, Swamiji's brain already showed phenomenal results. The strength of alpha waves, which actually all of us typically, we have high alpha waves, and even higher, the people who are normally stressed, they deal with, job tensions and all of that, they have high frequency alpha wave. And this was lower even than normal in Swamiji's brain, which means there was absolutely no trace of stress or anything whatsoever in Swamiji's brain.
That's
And
actually, like, as she was mentioning earlier, like Dr. Collins couldn't understand it because he has never seen like that ever in his career before. He was a leading neurologist, and he saw that even the most sensitive electrodes still recorded such low numbers, and the frequencies were something never seen before, never recorded before.
And Dr. Collins remarked interestingly that he said that there's no such thing normal state, there's no such thing as normal state for Swamiji. And Swamiji replied that that was right, because even during the normal state, Swamiji is actually in Samadhi. Science could not comprehend what this was, because normally human beings are stressed, we have high frequency alpha waves because we all have to deal with so many things. And here Swamiji was, and especially at that time, Swamiji was giving satsang, darshans, traveling continuously. Swamiji was in his tours, going to the US. And at that time, he was amazed to see that there was absolutely no stress. The energy levels were used in such conservative manner in Swamiji's brain. And while Swamiji was meditating, then the next readings were taken when Swamiji entered into the state of Samadhi, when Swamiji was meditating. So at this time, the higher frequency brain waves in Swamiji increased. And this was found typically in people who meditated for 20 plus years. So if someone has spent their whole life, 20 plus years only meditating, only they will be able to tap into that higher frequency brain waves. And Swamiji had this. The moment Swamiji entered into meditation, Swamiji's brain just glided to the state of one of the highest frequency brain waves. And the lower frequency waves decreased even more, decreased in strength. And this was a reverse of what is normally observed in average persons, where the lower frequency waves became more prominent during meditation for people. Like if me, you, all of us sit normally for, let's say, meditating, we have the lower frequency which typically increases. For Swamiji, it was completely the other way around. For Swamiji, the higher frequency brain waves increases. And Swamiji gave a science behind this. When the doctors explained, they said it's completely, they couldn't believe what they were seeing. Swamiji gave a very profound science for this. Swamiji said that when an average person, typically when we try to meditate, what do? We try to concentrate. So Swamiji said when average persons meditate, they concentrate. But when Swamiji does, he just enters into awareness. He just relaxes into that space of awareness. And that is the reason for such a huge difference, which clearly scientists could observe high frequency brain waves in Swamiji. So this was taken during the second state. Now, the next is the third state in which the scientific readings were done. The third state is when Swamiji was healing. So at this point in time, Swamiji was directly healing David, Dr. Collins' son. And Swamiji had placed his hand on David, and Swamiji was healing. And when Swamiji was healing, Dr. Collins noted that Swamiji's brain readings were dramatically different, which means the right side of Swamiji's brain became much more active. You all should know. There are so many scientific researchers, all of them working into trying to see how we can activate the whole right side of the brain, because we, on our average lifespan of, let's say, about 50 to 60 years, we use right brain. The activities, the percentage of activities that we use right brain for is very, very low. It's actually, it's a negligible amount because it is extremely less. And here, Swamiji's right brain was completely active. And the difference between the right side and the left sides were clearly visible. Like Dr. Collins in his research found out that the right hemisphere, that is a part which does the global thinking and rapid processing. And that was highly active for Swamiji when Swamiji was transmitting the healing energy. Let's say, like whatever takes the left brain several minutes to process, the right brain will process it in half a second. So the right side is hundreds of times faster than the left brain. So Swamiji's right brain was much more active than compared to the left. And one interesting fact that Dr. Collins had noted was that right brain is also in the timeless zone, which means the right brain does not cognize the concept of time. And Swamiji's brain was exactly in that frequency. His whole right brain was active and it was functioning such a speed when Swamiji was transmitting the energy of healing to the subject who was receiving it. And not just that, when they compared this, like they saw the strength of the waves was so much that if someone had done that much of an activity, like Dr. Collins said, that if I had done this, I would be fatigued and I would be sleeping by the time this was over because it would have exhausted all my energy. But when they observed this in Swamiji's brain, like when Swamiji was giving the healing, of course, after giving the healing, Swamiji was only more rested and continuing to be blissful and active. And at the same time, the study was also done on David's brain. The observation was done on David's brain, where again they noticed something really phenomenal. That in high frequencies were observed that normally people cannot produce. Understand? And that's true. This situation was such that David's brain, when it is being observed, David was disabled and he was not able to do even the normal activities that we all could do. But he, in his brain, he was producing some really high frequencies. The high frequencies are generally produced when we integrate information, or Dr. Collins said, when some epiphany happens. And that's also our brain can retain that high frequency only for a second or much lesser than a second. But in David's brain, it was recorded for the entire time when Swamiji was giving healing. So it was consistent. The brain wave was the high frequency wave, was continuously present in his brain. And the best part is when each of us receive initiation, this is the exact space, this is the exact frequency that our brain transcends to. When Swamiji is saying, understand when Swamiji is saying, I am literally, like many times Swamiji initiated, Swamiji is saying, I am infusing this energy into you now. Or Swamiji says, he's raising our frequency now. Each time, it is a physically our brain literally awakens. It experiences this high frequency process happening inside of us when we receive that energy. So what we are seeing here as, what is happening in the subject's brain here, in David's brain, that is the exact similar process that happens to us. And like we quoted Dr. Collins saying, these happen only for a very short period of time, typically for normal human beings. And that also when an epiphany happens. But here, for all of us, we experience it for such a prolonged period of time. And in David's brain, not only were these waves being produced, but they were maintained during the entire healing session.
Actually, Dr. Collins commented saying the world is not going to release it. This is extremely unusual. It seems as if his brain was changing and hundreds and thousands of neurons in the brain was being rewired. This is the exact word. I'm just putting from what Dr. Collins had written and published. You'll actually, this research is also available on nithyananda.org, and our support desk team would also share this link with all of you, so all of you can go and refer to this research. And he saw that the highest frequency waves were being sustained in David's brain. And this also meant that a very high metabolism of the brain was happening. Dr. Collins described it as equivalent to running at your fastest speed for 20 minutes straight. Understand? Running at your fastest speed for 20 minutes straight, what metabolism will be happening in your brain? That was happening in David's brain for a person who hadn't moved for last 10 years. His brain was exactly mimicking that neural activity. And did you know what happened after that? Dr. Collins thought he was amazed by this change. So he thought that David could not walk for 10 years, but his brain literally did an activity that was equivalent to running at the fastest speed for 20 minutes. Seeing this, Dr. Collins thought that David would be exhausted by now. By the time the healing is over, they thought David would have he would have lost all the energy. But on the contrary, right after the healing, David said that he felt so energized, he wanted to go for a walk. He said he felt so refreshed. Understand, when we receive the healing, literally our whole brain is awakened. When we receive the healing, this is the exact change. When we receive the initiation itself, here it is just one person, and we can see the research, the results of which has astounded the scientists. And this is the exact experience that we are going to be receiving through the initiation. Swamiji is literally going to be rewiring our brain, awakening our brain grooves, making us experience the highest frequency. And literally, like what we saw now, is just a glimpse of it. We are going to be experiencing this exact same state. So get ready to awaken your whole brain.
I'll heal you from all pains, trauma, everything. I'll shower you with all the auspiciousness. Tatastu. Gayatri Balasubramanyam. Tatastu.
குருநாதன் திருப்பாதமே
குருபாதமே நித்ய குருபாதமே நம்மை காக்க மண் மீது நடை போடும் திரு கற்ப தரு நித்ய குருபாதமே ஹர ஹர கங்கே